Good morning. Had a really great night's sleep last night up here in Coronado National Forest, up above Tucson, east of Tucson. Great views of Tucson out here. It is 7:51, leaving the campsite now to drive down this terrible road. Made all the worse by the sloshing around of ice and water in my cooler that I'm sure you can hear back there. Okay, it's 8:33 and I'm at the trailhead for Tanque Verde Falls. Tanque Verde Falls. It's 1.8 miles round trip. Should be a nice little hike. Lots of warning signs here about strong current and slippery rock and falling and dying and injury. This hike is incredible. What a beautiful little desert oasis here. There's not really a trail once you get down into the bottom of the canyon. It's fun though, you just kind of hop across the creek, scramble over rocks. There are lots of little swimming holes along here. This is such a beautiful hike. This would be a great hike for kids, although there's a lot of scrambling and rock hopping. I don't know how well they would do with that. But just going down to the water and playing around, they would love it. Such a pretty area. I would go swimming in this little pool. I'm considering it, but it's still a little bit chilly. The water is very cold. The air temperature is nice and warm, but it's still only 9 o'clock and the water is pretty cold. So I think I'll skip taking a dip. Awesome hike. One of the best desert hikes I've done, I think. It's not a long hike to get here. I think it took me about 35 minutes. But again, there is a fair amount of scrambling, so if you're not comfortable with that, you could just go down to the creek and stop there instead of going down to the creek and then going up stream bed. And in the middle of the day, on a hot day, this place would be paradise. Apart from having to share it with other people, probably. But just, you know, the whole hike up, there were watering holes and swimming holes and waterfalls. A really, beautiful spot. Absolutely worth doing. I think the waterfall is 70 or 80 feet high, and this tree is just as tall. Okay, had a really nice time here. I'm gonna trek back to the car. There's a little frog right here. I'd never know he was there if I didn't see him swimming. And then he stopped. There's such amazing camouflage. You know what? I do want to go swim in the waterfall. I'm heading back. I left about 9 or 10 minutes ago. The whole time I was thinking, I really should have taken a dip in that water. That water was frigid, incredibly cold, even colder than I thought it would be, and it was just brutal to get in there, but I'm glad I did it. I feel very refreshed and invigorated and ready to start the hike out. There were 2 other hikers that got on the trail before me, but I don't think they made it this far. I think the scrambling put them off, so I've had the place all to myself. I haven't seen another person since I passed them close to the start of the bottom of the valley here. I just pulled into Tumacacori National Historic Park, which is where an old Spanish mission is. I think this is about roughly halfway between Tucson and the Mexican border. So let's go in, and I know that the old mission is here. I think there are other things here, but I'm not sure. Let's just go explore it and see what we can find. Looks like there's a $5 entrance fee, but I think my National Parks Pass will cover it. So this is the Mission Church. I think construction started in 1800-ish and was abandoned a couple decades later because of the Mexican Wars and Apache raids. At the height, a couple hundred people lived here, and this church was never finished. You can see it's still in its unfinished condition. The mission that I went to a couple days ago, San Javier, it's still a functioning Catholic church. This is no longer a functioning church. It's basically just a ruin. This is the back side of the church. I wish they had some more appropriate looking cones instead of those. It kind of detracts from the ambiance of the place, but whatever. So there are a few graves right here, and a few more in the back here. So this round structure right here is the funeral chapel. It's never finished, there's no roof on it. And the original location of the cemetery has been lost, but These were put here in the early 20th century. After the church was abandoned, the cemetery back here was also used as a corral for cattle. And this area was a storehouse. They stored food, grain, things like that. Then here's the mission church from the side. You can see how the tower here was never finished. I like this place. I'm glad I came here. It's very peaceful, very quiet, even though I'm not the only one here. There are chairs and benches to sit on. Nice grounds to explore. There are several outbuildings that you can go look at. I looked at a couple of them, but I think I'm gonna head out now. Worth a visit. I like seeing the old missions. That's something that interests me, and so worth coming here for me. And they give you this little laminated book here. It's a guide to the whole area, the whole complex, whole compound. You don't really need to follow it. You just go to the mission church, and that's the most interesting thing here, I think. They also have a little video that you can watch and a gift shop. So again, pleasant little spot. There's a trash can over here and another one over here. So I'm gonna grab my trash, toss it, get gas, then hit the road again. Okay, I've gotten to a dead end. Google has taken me to the wrong place. This is a private ranch, and not where I wanted to go. There's a park over here. Let me stop and see if it's worth taking the detour to where I was gonna go, or if I should just go find a campsite. Poisonous snakes and insects inhabit the area. It's my kind of place. Okay, so after looking at the map, the place that I wanted to go is kind of on the way to where I'm gonna be camping, just via a different route. So I'll try the other way. Maybe that way is on private land too, I don't know. But let's give this a shot. Crossing on this one-lane bridge over the Santa Cruz River, but it's not very rivery right now. It is just dry, dry, dry. Okay, I've hit another snag. The place I want to go to is just right through here, but I think I have to cross private property to get there, so I'm going to try to get there from the other side of the valley here and see if that works. If not, I'm just going to give up and I'll tell you about it then. I've hit another dead end, and I will not be making it to this spot. So basically there are the ruins of another old Spanish mission from the late 1700s or early 1800s. I thought they were all part of the National Historic Park that I was at earlier, just not contiguous, not together, all separate, but I thought that you could access all three of them. Maybe not. Maybe you can only access that one. I don't remember the name of the one that I was trying to get to. I'll put the name of it on the screen and some other information about it. But I guess it's on private land now, so too bad. I spent a good half hour at least trying to get to that place via a few different routes, but oh well. Gonna head now up into the mountains, into the national forest to find a campsite. I'm maybe 15 minutes from the national forest. I believe it's in these mountains up here. I think that's where I'm headed. I'm only 6 or 8 miles north of the Mexican border right now, and right here. I'll be moving back away from the border as I go toward the mountains and go toward the national forest. And then I will be going into Mexico in a couple of days, but I'll talk about that more in a future video. As a rule, I try to start looking for a campsite about 3 hours before dark. 2 to 3 hours before dark. That gives me plenty of time usually. As long as I know that I'm in an area where there is potential camping, that gives me plenty of time to actually find a spot. And I know my nose looks funny and sunburned today. I got sunburned yesterday, and I know people are gonna say that I should wear sunscreen And I do. Like, how many times have you seen me be badly sunburned? Very few times, but it does happen occasionally when either I forget or, as was the case yesterday, I'm outside longer than I think I will be. So as I was driving back down the main road, I saw this sign and these steps leading up to the cliff. It says historic site. You can go back and pause that if you want to, but it basically just said that there was a ranch here, near here, and the rancher's grandson, I think it said, was kidnapped by Native Americans and was blamed on the wrong tribe. Just looking at all of these things around here, this little shrine. This is interesting. Erected by Juanita and Juan Tellez, based on a vow to God for the safety of their sons in war, rededicated November 18, 1988. Very interesting. So this doesn't have anything to do with that historical marker down there. I thought it did, but I think they're two separate things. Reminds me of my travels in Southeast Asia, where there are little Buddhas in niches in the rock like that, and steps leading up to the little Buddhist shrines, but this of course is a Catholic shrine. Alright, let's go find a campsite. Okay, welcome to Patagonia. Founded 1898, elevation 4,050, which is pretty high for southern Arizona. I'm turning off here to try to go find some more national forest land. Seeing some other rigs camped along the road now, that's a good sign. I saw one ambulance, someone who had converted an ambulance into an RV. That was interesting. Okay, it's 5:30 and I found a campsite just a few miles out of Patagonia, the town, and it's a really pretty little spot, I think. We've got some oak trees here. I feel like I haven't seen those in a while. It's just this little clearing. There's a small dirt road out here, which leads out to the main road that goes further into the national forest and further up the canyon. So this is a side road off of a side road off of a side road? A couple of side roads in there. That's what I like to try to find, places that are more off the beaten path. You just keep making turns and then eventually we'll find a place that you can have all to yourself. I really enjoyed today. It was good to travel out of Tucson and see some interesting historical sites, and also that hike this morning, that was amazing. That was so cool. If you're ever in Tucson, you should definitely do that hike if you're able to. Really worth doing, and I hope you enjoyed that footage. I know I really enjoyed the hike. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.